The next item is education, and Dr. Stacy Dattery, the Executive Director of Learning Services, will give us some information about Follett School Solutions. This is an action item, and I will entertain a motion at this time.
I move that the Board of Education of Will County School District 6 approve the contract with Follett School Solutions Incorporated for the Destiny Resource Management Suite not to exceed $58,158 as presented.
Second.
Thank you. Dr. Dattery.
Thank you, President DeWitt, Dr. Lang, and members of the school board. With me tonight is Ms. Sharon Wright. She is our library media specialist at Hyman Elementary. And we are very pleased to bring to you our recommendation for Destiny Resources as our new library management system. This system will replace our current Mandarin system, which is over 15 years. We were actually trying to figure out how long has this been in place, and so it is an antiquated, really quite inefficient and very resource-intensive system that we're currently using. And so, with that in mind, a group of our stakeholders gathered together under the direction of Ms. Cheryl Lee, our library media coordinator this past year. Sharon was one of those library media specialists leading this work, as well as Alethea Sadler, Susan Easton, and Kippy Kanegi, all library media specialists using the system that we currently have, and gave some very good input and insight into this work. In addition, as Sharon will share with you in a moment, we needed to enlist the help of other folks around the district in analyzing this new system. And so Mr. Dan Wooten, he is an MIS specialist, worked with us in terms of an infinite campus integration. Ms. Carrie Allis, our data and assessment coordinator, who has to find time out of her schedule to try to work on the Mandarin system when the library media specialists need her, which becomes more and more frequent. And so she was able to give some insight into this work as well. Joe Ronenberg is our Director of Information Technology, because this is a web-based system. Our current Mandarin system is on a server system, and Sharon will share with you some of the challenges inside of that. So we needed his expertise around the table, as well as two of his technicians, Helen Akers and Nancy Wander. And so we very much appreciate the work that these folks put into really analyzing what we have, what might be better, and how we might go about this entire process. And so Sharon is going to share with you a little bit about the change, what this new library management system can do for us, and then we'll go from there.
I appreciate the opportunity to come and talk with the board. It really is important work for us as our libraries move into the 21st century and become very vital places to our schools. We found that Mandarin was just falling farther and farther behind for us. It's incredibly antiquated. When we get a new student, the steps that we have to go through, and there are several people that have their hands on the data just to get a new student entered, is a huge time commitment. The system is unstable. I would walk by and it would go down again, and it's 6565, my new best friend, please restart the server. And so we kept getting all kinds of roadblocks to our students using it and becoming efficient users of our resources. We have lots and lots of wonderful resources, but we were finding it was harder for students as well as staff and families to get that access. We require separate systems for administrative functions. It did not talk to Infinite Campus, so when students would move or become enrolled, we had to get data from either our office managers or from OIT to get those updated. And it's a really sad little thing when a little 6-year-old comes to you and says, I want to check out this book. And you say, well, sweetie, what is your name? What's your number? And no one knew. So this is going to make it just a really much better system for us. Additionally, it requires multiple contracts. We have a contract with Mandarin. We have a contract with another cataloging service. We have a variety of people across the district who are all part of the system, and this brings it all under one umbrella. Destiny is the system. It is by Follett. It will provide round-the-clock access for all stakeholders. It supports our 21st century learning. As I was listening to the people ahead of me talking about the blended learning and working towards that learning management system, this will dovetail with that. Staff can tie together those two systems when they're building resources and building content. They can tie in then the resources that we have available. It does integrate directly with Infinite Campus. There'll be a nightly upload of students, so when our students move buildings or we have new students enroll, they'll be ready to go when they get to the library. It will be hosted by Follett, so it will be web-based and they'll do the hosting. Follett's a company that we have a long-standing relationship in the library land, and they are incredibly easy to work with. They're constantly updating, which was one of the challenges with Mandarin. The system we're using now is very much similar to the system we started with 15 years ago, which seemed really great at that time, but it's just not kept up. Provides a platform for eBooks. I can purchase eBooks through Follett, but Follett will also host eBooks from other vendors. That's something Mandarin's not able to do at this time. WebPath Express is they vet their websites, and so while it provides, Destiny will provide a place for us to catalog our current collection, it also integrates resources from outside, and that's a huge time saver for us. There's a variety of ways that it aligns with the Common Core and with Colorado standards. A teacher can go in and search for materials based on a particular standard, and it cross-references those with all the collections that we have. And so we'll bring up those resources for them. And then again, we have a variety of reading incentive programs across our district. Accelerated Reader Reading Counts are two that we use, and it gives some connection to that. I can have students who know what their reading range is or their lexile is, and they can search for books on a topic in their range, and it will pull up those for them, both in my library as well as across the district. And we do borrow from each other as well. This is an example of a screenshot of what the front end would look like. There are about 3 different front ends that we can select from. They are somewhat tailored by level, but this is an example of a middle school, and it actually looks similar to what I'll probably use at my school. One of the things my kids are really interested in is what are the hot books. And so this is when it says the top 10 books. Those are the top 10 books checked out of our library. And so that's always interesting to them. We talk about how do you pick out a book? Well, I want what they're reading. And so this is a great way for kids to see what's in. New arrivals, we tend to, as our orders come through, we'll have a little showcase, here are our new books, but this gives kids a place to see what is new when somebody else keeps having that other book checked out. Also, our eBooks would be able to be displayed here as well. And then those resource lists, as a student logs into Destiny, they will be able to manage their own sets of resources. So if I'm doing a social studies unit on Colorado with a set of 4th graders, they can start collecting resources from those vetted websites as well as the collection that I have at my school, and they can start building those things. They can also in a minute, I'll show you some ebook work that they can do, and that all those resources can come together for kids. This is an example of what the ebook catalog looks like. There are shows books that are in. An additional piece that's not shown on here, one of the things that Follett does is you can buy a single license for an ebook. So if I have it checked out, I'm the only one that gets to read it. But I can also buy it's called the infinite number, an infinity, and it has the little infinity sign up there. And that's actually the bulk of my collection at my school, and an infinite number of people can check that out and use it. The difference in cost is not a lot. An ebook from Follett is running around $20 to $25. If I buy the infinite licensing, that's about $35 to $40. So it really gives me for either those high volume books or for those books that a lot of people would need at the same time. For instance, when people get to the Colorado unit, every 4th grade classroom in Greeley, Colorado is teaching the Colorado unit about the same time. So it gives us a really efficient way to leverage our resources and spread the wealth. What are Follett eBooks? I talked a little bit about the one-to-one model versus the unlimited simultaneous, and we call those the infinity books because they have the infinity sign, which kids love to see. Follett is a huge resource in terms of the amount of books that are available. There are thousands and thousands of them. They are, again, incredibly easy to work with and are really at the forefront also of recommending books. There's never been a book I've gone to look for that hasn't been in Follett's catalog. And then here's an example of one. If I were to, and I teach this with my 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders, we pull up eBooks, we do the highlighting piece, and there are ways then that those notes, they can take notes as well as highlight. Then all those things can be pulled together in a single document, which then could go in their book bag and then become one more resource for them as they do the work in the content areas.
And so we bring to you this recommendation. The first year, as you can see, is $58,158. That does include the entire project setup, the training of our librarians and then other staff members. It includes the entire project setup, as well as the conversion of all of our data from Mandarin into this and our libraries into this new system. The annual licensing then after the year 1 is $29,988. So it is, about half of what the initial is, and will definitely save over the long haul for our district. So at this time, we would be happy to take any questions that you may have.
Mr. Hall.
Dr. Dattery, on the $59,000 includes the integration of all of the book titles and all of the stuff that we currently have throughout all of our deals?
That is correct.
Okay. And then secondly, you mentioned a deal of, I believe you called it a license or a fee of difference between Infinity and and different uses. So I would assume that if, and well, let me ask this way, let me not assume anything. So if you're to add content, book content, and you would choose the infinite, so there's that would log in, and then we just keep the 29,000 feet. So if you got 100 books, it'd be $35 times 100 books.
And each building does their own purchasing, and so for my building, I purchase from some funds that my school gives me, as well as the ever-popular Scholastic Book Fair. And so those are the funds I use to purchase books, and then it becomes part of my work to leverage best that money, and so that's separate from the $29,900 or the $58,000.
Okay, so the book purchase, though, that would be the $35 that you spoke of?
Exactly,
Of the
and that would
infinite
happen
cost.
at my school site based on whatever funds. I also actually get funds from my PTA as well.
Okay. And that would come out of the general fund under each individual school?
Yes, that is correct. Either out of each individual school. We also have some money set aside in our DAA account, and we had about $1,000 for each school. That's in addition to what we spend for the library management suite.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
As I understand it, it's a little less expensive, it's more efficient, it's up to date. I'm just not sure what's caused you to be so enthused about this.
Yeah.
There really isn't a
Ms.
downside.
Wright, thank you so
There
much.
isn't. There is not a downside for this one.
Thank you very much. Well, it has been moved and seconded. Roll call, Ms. Brea.
One
Oh,
quick-
excuse me,
one quick follow-up.
Mr. Hall.
Would that be the $1,000, under virtually every school in the budget, there's a $1,000 media book or media?
That's what we had this last year for them.
Okay.
And we don't have that each and every year for them. So you asked about a general fund. They have the school budgets, and then we have our Division of Academic Achievement money for them on years where we can actually fund that. And then the additional money comes out of their, like she said, their PTAs, Scholastic Book Fairs, money that they raise that
Okay.
way. So,
I just saw a line item
Yep.
for a repetitive line item under each school of media.
We do.
book
And in
media.
fact, this
Wondered if
year,
that was it.
yeah, and this year, the entire budget, being that it is costing a little bit more to do this, is going strictly to the Destiny management system.
Okay.
Yes.
Thanks.
Other comments? We'll roll call. Ms. Breda, thank you.
Mr. DeWitt?
Aye.
Mr. Haefele?
Aye.
Mr. Hall?
Aye.
Mr. Lydiak?
Aye.
Dr. Richard?
Aye.
Mr. Richardson?
Aye.
Mrs. Solis?
Aye.
And the motion carries 7-0.
Thank you. Ms. Wright, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Dr. Dattery, please don't go anywhere.
Okay.
You're going to give us some information about Ames Community College contracts. This is an action item, and I will accept a motion at this time.
I move that the Board of Education of Weld County School District approve the contracts with Ames Community College for the Early Childhood Preschool Center lease not to exceed $54,600, the Concurrent Enrollment Program not to exceed $100,000, and the Slot Purchase Agreement not to exceed $140,000 as presented.
Second.
Thank you. And Mr. Eads. Hello.
Good evening, President DeWitt, Dr. Lang, members of the board. Well, since the lease came up first, and I'm the facilities guy, I'll go first and mention that the Early Childhood Center at Ames continues to be a vital facility for us in the offerings we provide to preschool students. It's a popular location with parents. In fact, it'd be nice if it was larger. We'd probably take it. We'd like to renew this lease for a year, and Ames has continued to support the concept by leaving our cost unchanged, and I believe they're going to do a little painting and some other improvements at the facility this summer, I mean. So.
The additional two, just to give you a bit of information on this, with our Ames partnerships, include the concurrent enrollment as well as the Career Academy. And this is where our students are able to gain college credit while attending one of their high schools. In concurrent enrollment, it really follows their plan of study. Oftentimes, they want to take a class, maybe here or there. They can enroll in up to 6 credits in a semester, so they can earn up to 12 credits in a year, and they can do that typically in their junior and senior years. Our student numbers have run anywhere from about 60 students in a semester upwards to 80 students in a semester. And then additionally, our Career Academy, we've had 5 career academies in the past that we've partnered with Ames on. This year, we are very pleased to be able to add the oil and gas, the welding, as well as the agriculture at the Fort Lupton campus. And so that will total our 8 career academies. So we are excited to be able to continue to expand that and have our students be able to take advantage of some of these very important college opportunities.
Could I add a side note on that? Today, with the first busload of our students, were transported to the Fort Lupton campus, the Ames Fort Lupton campus, to register for the career pathways that Dr. Dattery mentioned. So that was today.
Awesome.
That's wonderful. Comments or questions from the board at this time? We are enthused. We don't have any further
Good
questions at
stuff.
this time. So it has been moved and seconded. Roll call, Ms. Brand.
Mr. DeWitt?
Aye.
Mr. Haefele?
Aye.
Mr. Hall?
Aye.
Mr. Lydiak?
Aye.
Dr. Richard?
Aye.
Mr. Richardson?
Aye.
Mrs. Solis?
Aye.
And the motion carries 7-0.
Thank you. And thank you very much.
Thank you. Yes, you do.